Hey, Jeff, shut up. Hell no.
I'm sorry, man. I blacked out for a second.
This is Alabama coach Nate Oates. When we're not playing, I watch Field of 68's the After Dark show.
This is Coach Bruce Pearl. I love the Field of 68 After Dark show.
This is Duke head coach John Shire. Check out Field of 68 After Dark.
This is Xavier head coach Sean Miller. I highly encourage you to take a look at After Dark.
Now listen to you guys every morning when I'm getting ready. This is Field of 68 After Dark.
Welcome to the Saturday evening edition of the Field of 68 After Dark. My name is Rob Dauster. I have with me Jeff Goodman. We are live in Bloomington,
Represent
at Indiana at IU. We are at the Tap right here. They have given us access to a bar that has beers. Good idea?
Bad
idea? Questionable idea?
Bad idea. Yeah, I mean, didn't they see this at Kansas State, what we did when we broke into that freezer, whatever that was, that refrigerator there?
It was a refrigerator that had beers that were for sale that were not for giving away for us. Anyway, Sirius XM, Channel 84, College Sports Radio. We are live on YouTube. Jump in the chat. Ask us some questions. It is already going nuts in the chat. Shout out to Yuli. Yuli is always holding it down in there for us in the YouTube chat. Listen, we had a wild day of college basketball. It was a wild Saturday. We were obviously at the Indiana-Illinois game. We're going to talk a lot about that. We were able to catch up with Trayce Jackson-Davis, who broke a little bit of news.
He did.
We'll get to that in the second segment.
Big news.
Yep. We're also going to be breaking down everything that happened in the Big 12. It's insane there. Duke, I got a hot take.
All right.
I don't know it might be a little scalding, might be a little too hot, but we're going to talk about that later on in the show. Before we do, biggest story of the day.
Yeah.
Kentucky. They came into this week as a team that was on the wrong side of the bubble. They came into this week coming off of a loss to a Georgia team that was a quad 3 loss. We were questioning whether or not Kentucky was going to make the NCAA tournament. Then they go into Starkville and beat Mississippi State, who was one of the hottest teams in the SEC at the time. Turn around Saturday, smack around a good Tennessee team. I know Tennessee was shorthanded. No Josiah Jordan-James, no Julian Phillips. That didn't matter when they beat the number 1 team in the country on Wednesday night. So the Kentucky Wildcats now have 3 quad 1 wins, 2 wins over Tennessee.
Yeah.
They're in the tournament now.
Yeah, they're in. I mean, right now they're in. And obviously when you look at their schedule upcoming, at Florida, Auburn, who's fraudulent. Me and you have called them fraudulent all year, and they showed it tonight. We'll talk about the loss to Vandy later. Then they get Vandy at home, and they finish at Arkansas. So honestly, if they go 2-2 the rest of the way, they split these 4. They probably are in even without winning an SEC tournament game. But I think they go 2-2, they win an SEC tournament game, and that keeps them out of Dayton too. That's the biggest thing right now if you're Kentucky. You want to get in the field. You don't want to have to deal with playing somebody in Dayton that honestly could beat you. Because right now, really, the only legitimate team that Kentucky has beaten all year is the Tennessee Vols, right? They're the only 2 quad 1 wins they've got.
No, they got 3. They won at Mississippi State.
That's a quad 1 win?
That's a quad 1 win.
All right. I mean, I don't really consider Mississippi State very good.
I mean,
I know they're on the bubble. I know they're on the bubble, but they're not very good. To me, the biggest thing today was Casey Wallace. When he plays well, they have a chance. Now he's hit a little bit of a freshman wall. He's been banged up lately, but it allows for the fact for Oscar to have an okay night. And that's really like Oscar has not been National Player of the Year worthy. We know that. He's not been first team All-American worthy. He's been solid this year. Underwhelming compared to what you thought he'd do.
Yeah, but the thing about it is he was banged up at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Right. And what he is as a player is always going to be a little bit underwhelming when you think about him in the context of National Player of the Year. He is at his core a great role player. But he's out there.
See, I don't like when you say that.
I don't
like when you say that. What do you mean he's a great role player?
He's
a great role player when he won National Player of the Year.
Maybe he shouldn't have won it.
Well, but you voted for him.
I did. What were the other choices? What were the other choices? Johnny Davis?
Well, he was pretty good until he got
Keegan
hurt.
Murray?
I don't know. A role player. No, you need to take that back.
Is he a go-to guy? Can you throw the ball into him and get a bucket?
No, but that doesn't mean he's a
So
role player.
what's his job?
Oh, come on. He's
What's
not
his
a
job?
role player.
He
He's
is.
no,
His
he's not.
role out there is to go. He's not the superstar. He's not someone you could build a team around. We know he's not someone you could build an offense around.
They did last year. They won a lot of games last
But
year.
they didn't run offense around him. They had Ty Washington. They had Severe Wheeler. They had Kellen Grady. They had other guys that you could do stuff around. His job was to go out there and get every rebound and be a guy that took up space in the middle of the lane. And right now, what he is still the same thing. You can't throw the ball to him offensively. You can't defend ball screens with
He
him.
just doesn't look, honestly, as not that he's super explosive, but he doesn't look as explosive as he did last year offensively. I think the knee is bothering him. I think it's been bothering him all year.
And I don't
again,
think he's the only one that's banged up on that team. Obviously, Severe Wheeler's
Right.
missed some time.
And CJ
Wallace has
Frederick.
missed some time.
Yes.
They can't get CJ Frederick to be healthy for
Right.
more than like a week
Right.
straight.
right.
And at the end of the day, there's always going to be a ceiling for what this Kentucky team can be when you don't
Sure.
have CJ and Reeves both available.
Yeah, I mean, because we saw it for like a snapshot of what they could be. You got them both out there,
Mhm.
right? Both of them. We've been talking about it all year. If you have both those shooters out there, they're making shots with Case and Wallace, who I think has kind of come down to earth a little bit from his perimeter shooting. Remember, he was so good out of the gates, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, Case and Wallace, look at him. He's at 40%."
Well, because he took a bunch of wide open shots
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
started running stuff
Right.
for him and he stopped making them and he got banged up and people kind of figured him out a little bit. It's going to happen when you're a freshman, right?
To me, also, like Tennessee, like I know they're missing a couple dudes, but like
That's
I
what I was
know-
going to ask you. Where do you stand on the Vols right now? Because I think, and we're going to talk about the top 16 review.
I have honestly, I don't feel good about them at all, and I have never felt good about them this year. Never. As a like a Final Four, I'm not even sure I feel good about them as a second weekend team.
I think that they can get there because their defense can be so overwhelming that if they get a 2 or a 3 seed, which I think is probably going to happen because of their metrics, then they can overwhelm teams with their defense, with their size
Sure.
and their length and their athleticism. And I mean, but here's the other part of it. They have 6 losses to teams outside of the top 35 in the net.
Yeah.
Do you know how many other AP poll top 25 teams have more than 4? There's none. They have 6 losses to teams outside of the top 35 in the net. So it's a big red flag to me. And it's a major problem because there is one specific issue that they have. Offensive end of the floor. They can't score. They don't have a go-to guy. They don't have a go-to guy. And when your offense is built around 5'8" Zakai Ziegler or Santiago Vescovi, who is
Right.
literally slower than you.
It'd be a close foot race. It'd be a close one. I think he'd get me.
I think you're probably
I drank a few beers up there, so I
Yeah.
think he'd get me right now.
well, I think you probably have a better vertical than him.
I got a great vertical.
Yeah, I know.
I out-jumped Hummel,
That's not hard.
19 and a half.
Yeah, if you could literally jump up one step, you got a higher vertical than Robbie Hummel does.
I
He
hope
looked good today,
he's
by the
listening
way.
to you.
He looked good today, by the way.
Yeah, he gave me a couple packages of Twizzlers, by the way.
There you go. How
Yeah.
happy are you?
I was happy.
Why didn't you bring them?
I'm gonna eat them tomorrow in West Lafayette.
I could have used it
At
Twizzler
Purdue.
tonight.
I'll give them to you tomorrow. We'll eat them in honor of Hummel when we try to find the statue tomorrow in West Lafayette.
Yes, that's going to be our goal.
Yeah,
There is a
yeah.
statue of Robbie Hummel somewhere
We're told.
in West Lafayette.
Sources
According to my
say.
sources.
Sources say there's a statue. We are on a mission tomorrow to find it in West
Yes.
Lafayette.
All right, let's talk about the second biggest game of the day, which is probably the most hyped game of the day coming in.
Yeah.
Top 10 matchup,
Yeah.
2 first place teams in the Big 12, and frankly, it lived up to it.
Yeah.
Adam
yeah.
Flagler, LJ Cryer, Keontae George go nuts in the first half.
Yep.
Baylor is up by 16 in the first half. They head into halftime up 45-32. Everything changes in the second half. Kansas outscores them 55-26.
Yeah.
DeJuan Harris
Was awesome.
he looks like Stephon Marbury in
Yeah.
the second half.
Yeah. You know what it was like, and this hasn't just been the case today. They've had balanced scoring. They've gotten it from everybody in the starting lineup. And I'm ready to say, all right, here's a hot take. I'm ready to say the Kansas Jayhawks, to me, other than the Houston Cougars, are the second best team in the country going into March. Above Alabama. I trust them more because of Bill Self. That's why.
I'm not ready.
That's why.
I'm not ready to. I'm not ready.
DeJuan Harris has a ring. Jalen Wilson has a ring, right? Like KJ Adams didn't do much, but he's got a ring in his finger.
No, I love them. Don't get me wrong. I think they're very, very good. There's a reason why they're a 1 seed. There's a reason why they're sitting in first place in the toughest conference in college basketball.
Right.
My concern is that so much of what they do centers around how good DeJuan Harris is. And I'll give you the perfect example. Look, this is fun with small sample sizes because it's one game and 2 halves. But in the first half tonight, 0 points, 1 field goal attempt. Kansas goes into the break.
And they're down.
13.
Right. He's the most important
Second
player.
half,
right.
14 points.
He's aggressive.
6 or 7 from the floor.
Yep.
2 for 2 from 3. 6 assists, 1 turnover. And they beat a top 10 team by 30.5.
So I'm going to give you some numbers over the last 4 games.
Okay, hit me.
All right. Over the last 4 games, these are total points scored by the guys in the starting 5 for Kansas. Grady Dick leads the team with 71 points over the last 4 games. Jalen Wilson, only 55 points. 55 Wilson, McCullough 53, KJ Adams 52, DeJuan Harris 52. If that continues, that type of balance, Kansas is brutal to try to play against. Brutal. Again, the key is DeJuan Harris. He's got to be aggressive. He can't go through halves like he did the first half today. They're even getting some. They didn't get great bench production today, but they've gotten enough over the last 4 games. And again, you've got the X factor. What's the X factor, Rob?
Bill Self.
There you go.
Bill
there
Self.
you go.
No, I love Kansas, and I don't think anybody doubted that Self would be able to find a way to make this work. Right? Find a way to get it going.
They did doubt it when they lost 3 in a row. A lot of people were. Remember? Lost 3 in a row. You thought, like, you're looking at the schedule, they're going to lose maybe 4 or 5 in a row. But, like, listen, give Bill Self time. Give him time to figure things out and adjust. There's nobody better. Nobody better.
The only reason why I wouldn't put them second is
you're telling me Kansas plays Alabama in the championship game tomorrow. You're taking Alabama. You're going to take Alabama. Championship game. You're betting your house on one of them. Who you betting on? Who you betting on?
That's so hard.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not hard at all. You would bet on Kansas because of Bill Self. No disrespect to Nate Oates. You would take Kansas. You would. How could you not?
I'm trying to think of a way because I don't want to agree with you.
But you have to. You have to.
I'm telling you, I don't have to do anything.
I'm telling you, most people outside of Tuscaloosa, most people that aren't Alabama fans, take Alabama and Kansas fans out of the equation and just college basketball fans. Those 2 are playing for a national title. And we all love Brandon Miller. We all love him, right? Unbelievable talent. He's a freshman. Who would you rather have in that game, Brandon Miller or Jalen Wilson? You're taking Jalen Wilson. You just are. He did it. He did it last year. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, look, I think that you probably would lean towards taking Kansas. And my guess is that Kansas would probably open up getting points at our friends Bet Rivers, sponsored by Bet Rivers Sportsbook. But that's one of those ones where if they play 10 times, Kansas is going to win 5, maybe 6.
Maybe 7.
4. Like they're just close, man.
Maybe 7.
My only point is I don't think that there's that much delineation. And I think it's the same thing. Like,
again, I'll just say the experience factor of having a coach who's won titles and players on the team that played key roles who won a title.
Yeah, they're not going to be intimidated by the moment. That's
correct.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Baylor because they came into this game as arguably the hottest team of the Big 12. They had won 10 of their last 11. And the 2 losses that they took, the last 2 losses when they lost their first 3 in Big 12 play, were both on last-second shots, 1 possession games. They looked unbelievable for 20 minutes, and it all fell apart in the second half. Where do you stand on Baylor? Was this just, Kansas in the fog? This is what
they gave up 87 points, though. The defense, that's what scares me about Baylor. They can score with just about anybody. Well, they got 3 guys that can score with just about anybody. And again, I've said it, I'll say it again. Like that trio, perimeter trio of Flagler, Cryer, and Keontae George is as good as any in the country. I'm not taking anyone over those 3. It's the other guys. And like, I love everyday John, but like, he's not what he was. And he's probably not going to be what he was until next
He's
season.
never going to get to that level of
He
explosiveness.
may not, because he had it was such a brutal injury, tearing everything in his knee. And he's all about explosiveness.
They didn't know if he was going to walk again.
Right. It was that bad.
And
it was that
literally, this happened a year and like 8 days ago.
Yeah.
And he is back playing. Like, it shouldn't be
He played
overlooked.
25 minutes.
Mhm.
He played 25 minutes. So, again, Jalen Bridges, he gave him 6 points, 4 rebounds. Caleb Lohner played 5 minutes. Played 5 minutes. What have I said all year? The 4-man is going to determine how far Baylor goes. They've been mediocre, those two. I know Bridges has been better. He's gotten better.
He's been
Yes.
better, but it's not.
I expected more. How's that? Going into the year, I expected more from
Yeah,
him.
that's probably fair. I think there's also probably a reason that he's not at West Virginia anymore, because if he made sense,
Yep.
he's the right fit there. I'm never going to write them off, but they are, to
No.
me, Baylor is in the same conversation as teams like Miami, as teams like Marquette, and as teams like Xavier that are going to end up being a top 3 or 4 seed.
Yep.
That
Yep.
can beat anybody in the country on a good night.
Right.
but
It
they
wouldn't
don't
shock
play
you
who-
if they go to the Final Four. It
All right,
wouldn't
rank those
shock
4.
you.
Rank those 4, because those are the 4
Who
teams
is
that
it?
are elite
Miami.
offenses that can't really guard.
Miami, Marquette,
Miami,
Baylor.
Marquette, Baylor, and Xavier.
I'm
All
gonna
have great guards. All can score like hell.
yeah.
Entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
Can't
I'm gonna
lose.
go oh boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm gonna go Baylor 1. I'm gonna go Miami 2. I'm gonna go Xavier 3 and Marquette 4.
The only switch I would have is I'd have Marquette over Xavier.
Well, it's scary. The Fremantle thing right now scares me a little bit. You're going to try to put him back in, and defensively, you're going to get worse. You know that.
I just think that Marquette matches up a little bit more with teams around the country.
I've said it for a while. I like Miami, man. I do. I like Miami. Those
They've been
again.
there. They've been-
Yeah, they've won 6 straight now. Beat Wake today. They could score. And again, Wong, Pack. Those are 2 guards that can make plays off the bounce.
And Jim's been there, but listen, we have Trayce Jackson-Davis coming up. He's going to be joining us here on the other side of this break. So we're going to head.
Big news.
Big news. Trayce Jackson-Davis breaking that news with Jeff Goodman on the other side of this break.
Clear for 90.
All right, Dagan, what do we have in the chat?
First, we're going to do this early. We have 360 people watching, 30 likes. Hit the like button, people. Please.
Smash that like button.
Hit the
Don't
like
just hit
button.
it. Smash it.
Smash it.
Here's one from Bentley. I know we're going to talk about them later in the show, but this one's for you, Goodman. What are your thoughts on Brownell's seat after today's loss?
Is Brownell gone? Is he done?
I'm almost ready to stick a fork in him. I'm almost ready. And it's sad because, like, you felt like he had saved it. When I did my hot seat column like 2 weeks ago, though, if you remember, I did not put, I still put him in the kind of in limbo land.
1 minute.
Because you could just see it. They didn't have a lot of big time wins. And, everybody kind of knew they were playing over their head a little bit. So now this
who
is
didn't
about
know
as
that?
bad a loss.
You know who didn't know that?
Who?
CZ Bitcoin, aka Terrence Oglesby, the hacked man, the hacked Twitter account.
Poor T.O., man. He is distraught. If anybody wants to send their prayers right now to Terrence Oglesby, because his account has been hacked and Clemson lost
30
to
seconds.
Louisville in the most embarrassing.
I want to give
loss.
I don't know who it was, but somebody in the chat said that Clemson took a quad 5 loss.
It was Henry.
Whoever
Shout
said
out-
it,
Which
shout
I
out
was
Henry.
cracking up.
listen,
20 seconds.
that might earn a t-shirt slogan.
Yep. All right, we got 15 seconds, Dagan.
Well, we might as well just keep it. I know
10
you
seconds.
two aren't wrapping a question with 15 seconds.
That's very true.
5. Mike's hot in 2, 1.
Welcome back. Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM, Channel 84, College Sports Radio. Rob Dauster here. I got Jeff Goodman. We are live at the Tap in Bloomington on Kirkwood Avenue.
You
Here.
like-
I think you can see in the background. There's
You
a
like
gentleman.
Bloomington?
There's a gentleman in the background right now smoking a cigarette of our shot. Which
What's
shout
up,
out,
my man?
Shout out to that guy. Looks like a Marlboro Red. I don't know if that's the kind of heat you want to be smoking. Maybe put that down. They're not good for you, my man. All right. So, Indiana.
Don't they vape now? Do people really smoke cigarettes still?
That guy does. Do you think he knows he's on national broadcast right now?
No.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right.
so Indiana
Anyway.
plays Illinois. I thought that Indiana played pretty terribly, right? I was not impressed with what
No,
they
they
were doing.
played like shit.
I thought that every time that they had a chance to make a run, every chance they needed to make a big basket, they fucked something up. And they still found a way to win.
Yeah.
What is your like overarching? Give me the 35,000 foot view on Indiana after seeing them in person in Assembly Hall.
They need Xavier Johnson. That's what I would say. They need him soon. And I'm not sure they're going to get him soon. Like, I think we're still a week away or so. I don't know. I don't have inside info right now on that, but I think we're still a week away. And that puts it a tough spot because you got to reintegrate him into the team. But, you know, you could see it at times early in the game. Jalen Hood-Schifino was really struggling to make shots. And it's so much on Trayce right now. The other guys didn't really do much. Trey Galloway didn't give him much today, right? I mean, like, they just didn't get much out of some of those other guys, Tamar Bates. And there was a stretch when they were really good, when they started to kind of flip this thing a little bit, those guys, Geronimo, Galloway, Bates, they were all, you know, 2 of the 3 of them were playing well every night. And they just, I don't know what, you got the box.
Yeah.
Did they get anything from them?
Cobb hit 4 threes.
Cobb was fine.
Race Thompson had double figures.
Yep.
But it wasn't, they didn't get really anything off the bench.
Right.
Malik
Right.
Renault wasn't really all that good. But Trayce just 26 points,
Every
12
night.
boards,
Every night.
5
Rob.
blocks, 3 steals, 2 assists, 12 for 19 from the floor.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
he's just stupid good at this point. And but my takeaway was more than just him, because like we know what we're getting from Trayce, right?
Yes. Yes.
What I thought was so impressive was that Hood-Schifino was like, I
Not
don't
good.
want to.
No, he wasn't very good.
He was terrible.
Yeah.
He was terrible for 35 minutes, right? He made a terrible, horrible. I called it dumb in the interview we had with him. It was as bad of a turnover as you.
What did he say?
Yeah,
When
he
you
was like,
called it
yeah,
dumb?
it was bad.
Yeah.
He admitted it.
He
knew
like
what it
gave the
was.
ball.
He
He
threw
handed
it
the
right to
ball.
Coleman Hawkins, tie game, 90 seconds left,
Yep.
goes the other way for a dunk.
Yep.
You know what happens? 10 seconds later, he goes make a shot, ties the game.
Yeah.
Get a stop, come back the other way, get to the basket, you're fouled, make 2 free throws, 30 seconds left,
Maturity.
wins the game,
Maturity.
right? When they were playing at Maryland, last time he played this badly, that
Yep.
wasn't happening. When you were playing back in December and January, when Indiana wasn't playing well, losing
Yep.
close games, that wasn't happening. And that right there is the growth. So
He's
you're right.
poised. He's poised anyway. Like, you know, talking to a bunch of NBA guys in the preseason when they saw him, that was the one thing that stuck out to all of them. Like his pace, his poise. He doesn't play like a freshman. I just, again, to me, there's so much on Trayce with this team. And that's why, you know, Miller Kopp can make some threes. I still don't love Race and Trayce playing together. Although the one thing I'll say is Trayce is such an, I can't believe I'm saying it. I mean, we'll talk to him about it in a little bit here. He's become like an elite passer. Not good. I talked to Brad Underwood right before the game
Want to
today.
hear a crazy stat?
Elite passer.
The year that they won the Big Ten with Yogi Ferrell at the point,
Yeah.
Trayce Jackson-Davis and Yogi have the same assist rate.
Really, really.
It's wild. Like he
amazing.
can run offense, and that's why he's gonna. This is a different conversation.
Yeah.
That's why he's gonna be an NBA player.
Yeah.
Is one,
Yeah.
the
No
defense,
doubt. No doubt.
and
Yes.
2, the fact that you can use him as a short roller and as a passer. That's where the value comes
Yeah.
in. You get the spacing.
He's
because
gonna
you
have to
catch
shoot
from-
it. He's gonna have to be a
to be-
decent
to
shooter.
be a good pro.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
To be a guy that hangs around the NBA for 6, 7,
Right,
8, 10
right.
years,
All right.
makes enough money where he doesn't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to make that. Listen, let's talk to the man of the hour. We were able to catch up with him. Goodman broke some news. Let's talk to Trayce Jackson-Davis.
Here with Trayce Jackson-Davis.
Sir.
9 of 11. Things looked a little gloomy there for a little while in January. What's been the biggest reason for the turnaround?
I just think that after X and Race went down for a little bit, we just had to regroup as a team. And it took us about 3 games to figure some stuff out. But after we figured it out, after you win 1, you can win 2, win 3, and then you start rolling. And that's kind of what we've been doing. So,
You're passing. It's a part of your game that I don't know if you knew you had until this year. How did that start clicking where you're just much more patient now? Kind of survey the court a little bit more and, I don't know, some Magic Johnson skills or something.
I don't know about all that, but it's just really just my teammates. When I get the ball kind of away from the basket, usually if I'm going against someone that's slower footer than me, then I can just go at them. And then if there's help, I'm always looking for the right play. But in practice, Coach Woodson preaches that a lot. We always go big to big passing, buddy ball, or spacing across the court. I know our guys are shooting the ball at a super high clip, so I can get them for shots.
So Jalen, just a freshman, he makes kind of a bonehead play tonight
Yeah.
at the end, but right away comes back and makes a huge basket.
Absolutely.
What does that say about his maturity?
It's just huge. Jalen's just a competitor, man. Obviously, right when he did it, I knew he was going to want to get it back, and then he came off the screen and knocked one in, and he loves that midi, so every time he shoots it, I think it's going in.
Zach Edey's a guy that everybody's talked about. National Player of the Year, I've done it too.
Yeah.
You've made up ground. You've definitely made up ground. How much you think about that? Of, again, National Player of the Year, does it matter to you at this point in your career?
I mean, at this point, obviously accolades are great, and there's something that is a part of you, but at the same time, I came back to win a Big Ten championship and a national championship, and that's something that I want to do. And then I feel like if I do that, then everything else will play itself out.
All right, here's a different one. Mackenzie Holmes said she's not going through senior night.
Uh-huh.
Are you going through senior night?
I am indeed going through.
All right. It's a good question, right?
I am. So yeah.
So you're done.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Are we breaking news here or no?
I think this is. I mean, if you didn't know now, then I guess I know. So, but I feel like kind of speaks for itself. But I feel like four years.
It's enough. It's enough.
For me, so.
Well, people are playing like 6 and 7. Come on.
Hey, trust me, I know.
We got a 24-year-old down in college in Charleston. He's in his 7th year.
Yeah.
You got like 3 more left if you want.
Hey, I don't know about all that. Sometimes you got to move on, but I'm grateful for my time here. But I'll say the rest during senior night. So.
The other knock on you years ago in high school was doesn't play hard all the time.
Yeah.
Now nobody can say that. How do you flip the switch on that? Was it something? Was it somebody, or just the end being near and you being a senior?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Especially when X and Race went down, I knew that I didn't have 2 of our senior captains. The 2 voices on our team, they're super loud as well. And so I knew that I had to put it on my shoulders and I had to carry us. And then when you start playing well, and I'm a player like last year in the Big Ten tournament, when I start playing well, I just start going. And when it comes early in the season, I'll just keep trying to play this way, and that's what I've been able to do.
When you look around the country, not a dominant team, right? There's been 3 that Alabama, Houston, and Purdue until lately that everybody have kind of put in a different group.
Absolutely.
How much hope does that give you that, hey, maybe we can reel off 6 straight? Because now, you're peaking at the right time, and I'm assuming you're going to get X back soon.
Yeah, so we just got to keep taking it. What we're doing, Coach said, especially after we lost the 3, we got to take it one game at a time. And after you start stacking wins, and that's what happens. And so it's been big for us, just taking it one game, one possession, it's huge. And then after you do that, you start stacking wins. And so that's what we got to continue to do.
All right, the most important question. Where do we go now to watch games for the rest of the day?
Where do we go to watch games?
What's the spot with the TVs? I mean, we got Kansas.
You got Buffalo Louis. You got Knicks.
What's your spot? Give me.
Usually, I'll go to probably Knicks. Knicks is a really good spot. So.
All right. Listen, congrats. Great to see you as always.
Thank you.
And good luck down the stretch.
Yes, sir.
We are going to see Zach Edey play tomorrow. Goodman, Trayce Jackson-Davis, Zach Edey. If there is a conversation for Player of the Year, it's those 2. Yeah. You got numbers. I never trust you with numbers, so I'm taking a risk here.
I was given these numbers. I didn't put them together, okay? So don't blame me. Blame JD Campbell from Indiana if these numbers are wrong, all right? So, JD, these better be right. But they are really intriguing. And again, part of it centers on the debate. Can you be National Player of the Year but not be Conference Player of the Year? Because Trayce has been really good in conference.
For the record, yes, you can.
Yeah, you've said this. You've argued this.
I'm on this bandwagon.
So Trayce leads in conference play, leads the league in scoring. 22.1, rebounds, 13.1, blocks, 3.3. He's 5th in field goal percentage, 8th in assists, which is amazing at 4.4. Edey's 2nd in scoring, really close, 21.9. Rebounds, really close, 13.1 also. He's 1st in field goal percentage, 2nd in block shots. Both are responsible for 31% of their team scoring in league play. Both are posting the 2nd and 3rd highest averages for a player 6'9" or better since 1996-97. really, really amazing numbers for both of them. I think an argument could be made, certainly that Trayce, and as of like 2 weeks ago, you're like, well, you can't because Purdue is clearly running away with this thing in the Big Ten. Now it's tightened up a little bit. Purdue's going to win the Big Ten. I'm pretty convinced. But ultimately, this thing is tightened up a little bit with Purdue, stumbling a little bit lately. But man, it's tough to pick between those two for Big Ten Player of the Year. They've both been phenomenal. I think Trayce has been, obviously he's been better over the last month or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you're kind of arguing between the
two elite players.
What's your favorite flavor? I've been saying this all the time. What's your favorite flavor ice cream? You don't have a wrong answer there. I would still probably lean Zach Edey because I think that
even though Trayce makes people better, like that's the one area right now that you're like, whoa, what he's done passing the ball.
The only thing that I would say to that is I think that Edey's presence on the floor and how unstoppable he is creates stuff. So he's not going to get the assist, but the attention that he draws gets it. But like I said 3 weeks ago that I think Trayce Jackson-Davis should be in the National Player of the Year conversation.
Right. I know you did. I know you did.
So I think it's those two. I think it's more of a debate than folks are going to tell you. Bet Rivers is going to like Bet Rivers has it basically is done.
Right. And it probably is for National Player of the Year just because again,
well, here's the
Zach's got so much.
Here's the other problem with it is there's no like data center to make this decision, right? It's a bunch of people voting.
Right.
And the narrative has been Zach Edey the entire time.
Right. It's almost like you can't pick anybody else.
If they win the Big Ten and they're a 1 seed, it's gonna be Zach Edey.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that Trayce Jackson-Davis hasn't had an incredible season. All right, we got about 2 minutes here before we got to get to break. Talk to me about Illinois. They didn't have Terrence Shannon.
Yeah.
Right? Matthew Meyer was awesome for about 15 minutes. Kind of disappeared in the second half. My man Trevor at Bet Rivers had plus 590 for Matthew Meyer, 25 points or over. He finished with 24.
Oh no.
Missed 2 free throws.
Trev.
So Trevor was up there. Not only
we gotta go get
Illinois on Trevor lose, but he also lost his bet as well. So my man was kind of sad. He was kind of feeling it.
Listen, Illinois came in to Bloomington, to Assembly Hall, one of the most difficult places to play in the country, without their best player, Terrence Shannon, and had a chance to win. That's a hell of a day. I know you don't, you're not into moral victories if you're Brad Underwood here. You need wins or you want wins. But ultimately, this is a great performance. And while you said Matthew Meyer wasn't great in the second half, man, was he electric in the first half. And his teammates needed to pick up for him a little bit in the second half. And they didn't. But again, Dane Danger is playing better.
Jaden Epps was good. Like I know he didn't. He missed the free throw.
Good.
That hurts. He missed the free throw.
He's going to be really good.
Assembly Hall. What I'll say is this: this is a free square. That's the way I like to use the phrase.
Yeah,
it's a free hit. And losing, there's no shame in losing this game. It doesn't hurt you to lose this game. There's only a benefit for winning this game. You almost did. Sucks that you didn't. And honestly, like
I like this team. You know what I do? I compare them to the last couple Illinois teams with Kofi. And I'm saying, obviously, they're not going to be as good in the regular season. Who cares? Right? Because Brad's gotten hit for not doing anything in the NCAA tournament. So he's going to be judged on that. So even if you have a good but not great regular season, not as good as it's been the last couple of years with Kofi Coburn, it matters what you do in March. And I just feel like this team, again, is more equipped to win games in March, right? Shannon can make plays off the bounce. Meyer can make plays off the bounce. Coleman Hawkins isn't consistent. He's consistent in the defensive end, but on the offensive end, you don't know what you're going to get. Epps is capable. They've got Luke Goody. It was in his third game today, and he showed glimpses. I don't know how many minutes he played.
He's a very good positional spatial defender.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be an issue with him defensively. I think it'll make him better defensively.
Well, and he's played this is third game. So I think they got a lot of versatility. That's what Underwood and his staff were shooting for. The one question I had coming into the year was point guard play. And I'm not sure they have one. I know you'll push back on me with Jaden Epps. He's a scoring point. Clearly a scoring point is what Jaden Epps is.
My only point was Epps is good enough for the role. He's a tough defender. And you also have Terrence Shannon who can go get one,
Right.
Matthew Meyer who can go get
Yep,
one,
yep.
and a guy Coleman Hawkins that can facilitate. So like I think
They don't need one, and that's what Brad said to me in the preseason. When
everybody
I went
can
there.
go get their own, and,
Right.
and that's so to me that's not a huge concern. But I'm with you on it. Like my biggest thing with Illinois is that you have so many guys that are peaks and valleys. There's not a lot of guys that are just what you're going to get.
Actually, I think Myers turned into a guy. I give Brad Underwood a shit ton of credit for what he's been able to do with Matthew Meyer, right? Like he's pushed every right button and gotten him. I mean, again, he was playing hard defensively.
He lit him and
Killed
TJ
him.
Shannon
Killed him
in a press conference.
Shannon, you knew he could get away with doing because Shannon had played for Chris Beard.
Yep.
Okay, so you knew. But Matthew Meyer had played for Scott Drew, the eternal optimist. And Brad Underwood is not the eternal optimist. Daddy Brad, you got a little negativity there.
Well, listen, as much fun as the Big Ten was,
Yeah.
the Big 12, craziest conference in college basketball. We got a team looking like a top 10 team that played again today. They got healthy. We're going to tell you all about them when we come back.
Clear for 90.
Dagan. Do it. Yeah.
Let me tell you guys about our sponsor for today's episode, Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 a few weeks back. When we get in the middle of college hoop season, it can be hard for me to eat and drink as healthy as I probably should be, especially in late February and March when the schedule gets really busy. But I found that I've felt better as I've made AG1 a part of my daily routine. I take AG1 in the afternoons after the coffee is worn off and once the itis post-lunch is kind of set in. And what I found, my energy levels are up. It's improved my digestion. And as a result, I'm not only more efficient and productive in the most important time of the year for me and for the field of 68, but I'm working out more consistently. I just feel better. AG1 is so much more than just a greens powder. It's comprehensive health and the power of habit in one. Covering my nutritional basis for the day literally could not be easier, which is why I trust Athletic Greens. I just mix one small scoop of the AG1 formula with water, and I drink it every single afternoon. Done, just like that. I also like that it only costs $3 a day. The price is right. If a comprehensive solution is what you need for your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is the answer. They are giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Free! Just go to athleticgreens.com/field68. That's athleticgreens.com/field68. The link is in the description below. Check it out. Support the field of 68 and feel better about yourself.
We're back. Dagan, are we back live?
Yes, we are, but we're going to Sirius here, so.
You're up.
Welcome back. Field of 68 After Dark Live, Sirius XM, Channel 84, College Sports Radio. Rob Dauster, Jeff Goodman. We are live at the Tap in Bloomington. They allowed us.
I'm running low.
We
got Trevor back here. And Trevor, can you give me another one? I tip well. I tip very, very well.
Oh, man. Listen, I teased it before the break.
Thanks, Trev.
The Big 12, best conference in college basketball. Every weekend, it feels like the wildest conference because it feels like there's 17 different storylines.
Every game matters.
We got to talk about every single game
Yes,
matters.
yes.
So we had Kansas and Baylor.
Yeah.
During break, I said to you, Goodman, what is the biggest storyline from the Big 12 that you want to talk about here? And you want to know what you said? The 2 last place teams. Take it away. Go ahead. This is your show.
they're both 4-10, right? Texas Tech is on a run here. You know, a couple weeks ago, they were winless in the league. They're now 4-10. They beat Bob Huggins in Morgantown today, which is a huge hit to Hugs because everybody wants to see Hugs get in the NCAA tournament now and maybe go out. Like who knows when he retires. Thank you, Trevor. There's a lot of foam in that one now. Can we swap it out for one? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Trevor, thank you. No, but seriously, look at it now. They've got, I think, 4 games left. Texas Tech. Do you have the schedule up?
I'll bring it up.
Bring it up for me. Because if they won 3 of them, if they won 3 at this point,
They are at Oklahoma on Tuesday.
yep,
TCU at home next Saturday.
can win that.
At Kansas.
Can't win
Tuesday
that.
after that.
Not going to win that.
Oklahoma State at home.
Okay,
Next
so
Saturday.
they could go 3-1. Legitimately, they could go 3-1 with the way they're playing. They got Pop Isaacs back today. They're healthy finally. Fardaws has played some games. Tyson was awesome today. If they win 3, they get that magic number of 7, which got Iowa State in a year ago. The difference, though, Iowa State's non-conference a year ago was strong. Texas Tech's non-conference sucked. I think Texas Tech probably needs to win all 4 or win 3 and go to the Big 12 title game or something like that. Go deep in the Big 12 tournament and maybe they'd have a shot. But they're making things interesting. And again, they're kind of playing the spoiler role a little bit because now
I'll tell you this. I do not want to see them in Kansas City. If I am anybody in that league, I do not want to.
Because they're playing like loose now. It's almost like everybody's written them off, like whatever they do now. And that's dangerous when you play that way. And some of these other teams, West Virginia, knew they had to win this game. A home game, you better win it. That's why this one was so big for Texas Tech to go into Morgantown, win on the road. So now both those teams are 4-10 in the league.
Here's what I'll say, and then we can move on after this. Here's what I'll say about
go ahead.
Texas Tech.
Okay.
So they have 4 quad 1 wins, which is fine.
Yep.
Pretty good for the bubble.
Yeah.
But they're 4-12 against the top 2 quadrants. They only had 2 quad 2 losses, which is not like that. It's not terrible. That's something that you can.
They just didn't play anybody in the non-conference,
which is why they need to start stacking these wins. At Oklahoma, you win that. That's a quad 1 win.
Yeah.
Home for TCU, you win
Quad
that.
1 win.
That's a quad 1 win.
Yeah.
At Kansas,
well, that's the
that
big
is a
one.
quad
That's
1 AAA. That is as good of one as you're going to get.
Yeah.
Home for Oklahoma State. It's not
Again. That's
quad
what I'm
1
saying.
right now,
If
but
you
it's
go
right on the
3,
border. Like
if you win 3 of the 4, you can't expect them to go into Lawrence and win.
I think you probably have to win all 4.
Yeah.
To
I
be
think
able to lose your first
or
game in
again,
the Big
or
12
win
tournament.
3 and go to the Big 12 title game. And you know what? You probably have a shot at least. At least it's interesting. And Mark Adams can breathe a sigh of relief a little bit because, people were talking about him not coming back after year 2.
Yep. So my biggest disagreement with you saying that that's the biggest storyline is, to me, it's Mike Miles back.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mike Miles is back. He
Yep.
missed 6 games.
Yep.
TCU without Mike Miles went 1-5 and averaged a not very nice 69 points in those 6 games that he was out.
Okay.
When he comes back, they play Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State came into the game as a top 5 defense.
Close game
in college basketball. TCU put up 100 on him. 100.
I know.
Remember, without Mike Miles and Damian Ball, this TCU team lost to Arkansas Pine Bluff earlier this year and almost lost to Northwestern State. Actually, I might have gotten that backwards. Either way, there were 2 bad teams. One of them they had to beat on a buzzer beater, another one that they lost to. So, with Mike Miles back, where do you stand on this TCU team? Because to me, here's my take on it. They are going to be underseeded because they went 1-5.
No, pick them. No,
100%.
100%.
Northwestern State. So right now on Fielding the 68, we had them as a 6 seed before this win. It's probably going to be a 6 seed again.
Yeah.
Imagine being the 3 seed.
No, you don't want to see them. You don't want to see them.
Imagine being the 3 seed.
Because again, number one, the 2 guys you can compare this way a little bit, and the 2 teams are Creighton and TCU. Because Creighton will be underseeded too because they lost all those games without Kalkbrenner. Right? Kalkbrenner and Mike Miles, neither one of those teams can win without those guys. They're 2 of the most valuable players in the country. Obviously, very different players. Kalkbrenner's both ends, he's terrific. Miles is tough, leadership, can do everything for TCU. He's really the key.
Here's what it is. This is I don't mean to cut you off, but the reason why he's so important to TCU is because Jamie Dixon changed the way that he runs offense and changed the way
because of Miles.
Yes.
And Ball.
They are top 50 this year in pace. Last year, they were outside the top 250. So what they're doing is Jamie Dixon was like, look, you know what? We couldn't shoot last year. Yeah. We still can't shoot for shit this year.
We got to
get what we're going to do. We're just going to run.
We're going to run. Right.
We have all these dudes that are faster than your dudes. So we're just going to go get layups every single time.
Yeah.
They kind of remind me a little bit of, and it's not exactly like apples to apples.
Yeah.
But to me, they're a little bit like the West Virginia teams that Bob Huggins had with Javon Carter and Daxter Miles.
Yeah,
where, like,
a little bit.
They're gonna really get up in you and guard you.
Yep.
Right. They're gonna force some turnovers, and when they can kind of get that avalanche going, where they get a turnover, get a layup, press, turnover, layup, press, and then they can just go on these runs like 10-2, 12-0, and just like that.
Yep.
They are so dangerous.
I mean, listen, the other storyline is Texas keeping pace with Kansas, right? There's 4 games left now. And again, we've talked about this Rodney Terry thing plenty, but there's 4 games left, and Rodney Terry right now has the Longhorns tied.
But go
for first
through
place.
the end
Schedules?
of the end of the Texas.
I'm looking.
schedule. This is what you got.
I'm looking at
Texas
Kansas's right now.
Iowa State at home,
Yeah.
at Baylor,
Okay.
at TCU,
1-1.
Kansas at home.
All right. So they
Good
got to
luck.
be. Well, they got to be Kansas at home, right? You got to go 2-2, and hope that
This is what
Kansas
has.
loses at TCU.
Kansas is
Right.
at TCU.
Okay.
West Virginia at home, Texas Tech at home, at Texas.
What I'm saying is, if you beat Kansas at home in the final game and Kansas loses at TCU, you can get a share.
Yeah.
I mean, if he gets a share of first place,
Yeah.
and he goes again, we've done this drill before, but he goes to the Elite 8. If you're Chris Del Conte, how do you not give him something?
Look, if you win a share of the Big 12 title, and
You think that's enough?
And Rodney,
You think that's enough? You think that's enough for you?
1,000%.
Enough for
yes.
you? Is that enough for Chris Del Conte?
If it's not enough for him, then I don't like. What are we even talking about?
I'm just telling you,
What
it's
are we
not going to be
talking about?
enough. It's not going to be enough.
Then that
I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong.
Look, I
Maybe
don't-
they give him a deal right before the Big 12 tournament starts and take away the
if
acting.
you are Chris Del Conte,
Yeah.
is that enough? I don't want you what you think he's going to do. I want to know if you are him.
I got to
You're
get
the
to the
agent.
second weekend. I got to get to the second weekend. I got to. Period.
The only thing that I would say to that is, to me, it
Didn't
says-
Shaka do some of that?
it's-
Not to that level, but then they lost Abilene Christian.
Yeah, they
So
lost
you
Abilene
don't
Christian.
give it like to me. You don't have you wait and you evaluate the whole season. To me,
But
too many
here's the thing.
ads.
No, look, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But winning a share of this Big 12,
That's amazing.
is
Amazing. I know, I
significantly
know.
more impressive than anything that Rodney Terry can do, short of like
In
getting
the
to a
tournament.
Final Four.
Right. Right. Agreed.
You win a share of this Big 12 title?
Again,
And you
here's
end
what
the
I've
season by
said.
beating
Here's what I've
Kansas?
said over and over. If you're Chris Del Conte, what you do is, hey, here's the deal, Rod. We're going to give you a 4-year deal. Okay. But we saw what happened at Wichita State. So we're going to be a little cautious here. We're going to give you a 4-year deal. And we're going to give you like $2.5 million for 4 years. But the buyout is going to be low. So if
That is
things don't
exactly
do
what
well,
That is exactly what I would do. That's
Right.
exactly what you
Right.
do. You make it so that you have
in
an
Texas
easy
doesn't
out.
matter. Money doesn't even matter for them.
Here's
But
the thing: if you're Rodney Terry, right, and you and they give this to you,
yeah,
one, I don't think you're really that offended because you're the interim coach.
Right.
I made this argument the other day. Look, he's a Texas guy through and through.
yeah,
He recruited all of the stars that they had before.
yeah.
Right. And he's been a head coach. But if you just looked at his resume, I don't want to denigrate it, right? Like I don't
No,
want
it's
to say that
fine.
it was terrible.
It's fine.
It's fine. He did a good job.
Yes,
But
solid.
he would never be in the conversation for the Texas coach if he wasn't the interim.
Right, right.
That's the only point that I would make. So you give it to him, you let him have a fair shot at it,
Yeah,
but
it-
you make it so you have an
it's
easy
it's
out.
almost another year of saying like we're still going to kind of evaluate you.
And-
We're going to
and
pay you.
my-
We're going to pay you well for next
My
year.
only thing is you have to give him a contract that will allow him to be able to recruit as if
Right.
he is the long-term guy. Because if you just say we're going to give you another year as an interim, you're never going to be able to get 4-year players. You know what I mean?
That's why you give him the
Yeah,
4-year deal.
Yeah, you give him
Right,
a long-term deal
right, to recruit,
with an easy
of course.
buyout to be able to
Yes.
recruit. So we're on the
Although
same-
these days, I will say, the 4-year deal is a little bit overrated because you're not recruiting a ton of high school players anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, for the elite guys, yes.
you know what's wild about this entire conversation?
Go ahead.
There was another ranked game or another game between two ranked
Yeah,
teams
we haven't
in
talked
the Big
about.
12.
Yeah.
And that's like the last storyline that we got to. It's
Yeah, I mean, Kansas
beating
State,
Iowa
yeah.
But listen,
Yeah.
we'll get to that. When we come back, we're going to talk about the biggest storylines of the day that we haven't gotten to yet. And I'm going to give you my scalding hot take. I don't think Jeff's going to like this one.
Clear for 90.
Got a lot going on
It's getting
behind us.
wild out behind us.
Big,
man.
and we got
Hey,
some
hey,
action.
chat. Are you psyched you got to see Trevor for the first time?
I'm gonna say they don't
Yes,
believe
sir.
it. They don't
Sure.
believe it's really him. That's him, chat. That's him. Come on, Trevor, get in the shot,
They want
Trevor.
you. The
Get over
chat's
here,
calling
Trevor.
for you. Get
Chat.
back here.
Get over here, Trevor.
Trevor's going to do a dance in the background.
With chat.
Dagan, give us a question.
Yeah, here's one. It's not really a question, but Glunson's been bringing it up in the chat, and I think it's an interesting point. Do the 4 best teams in the country reside west of the Mississippi River this year?
1 minute.
Let's go. Let's think about this, boys. Here we go. We need a map pulled up.
Is Kansas west of the Mississippi?
Yes.
Kansas is?
Yes.
Yeah. Then yes, I agree.
So you don't think? So you don't think?
That.
I didn't hear the question.
Oh wait. What about Alabama?
I'm about to say you don't think Alabama's a top? You didn't even ask Goodman the question.
Is it? I don't think so.
Yeah,
East-
I'm just
East
gonna
of
go with Goodman is like over here talking. He
East
has
of
no
Mississippi.
idea what we're talking about.
I know you're asking about Alabama being east or west. of
30
Mississippi.
seconds.
They think that all the best teams in the country are west of the Mississippi.
The top 4 teams in the country
What?
are west of the Mississippi. Is that
All
true?
the best,
Yeah,
really?
think about it. Oh no,
20
Purdue isn't.
seconds.
Alabama.
Yes, they-
Who asked this question?
Right.
Who are the top 3 are?
It's weird.
Yeah,
Houston.
take it back. Dagan, apologize.
I'm not apologizing for anything. I just wanted to see you guys try to
10
figure out
seconds.
what was east and west of the Mississippi.
You put my brain into a blender, man.
5, 2, 1. Mike's hot.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark live, Sirius XM Channel 84, College Sports Radio. Rob Dauster here. I got Jeff Goodman. Make sure you come over to the YouTube channel. We're jumping in the chat. We're going to be answering your questions for the afters here in about 7 minutes. What's the show on Sirius is over. Jeff, we did not get to a lot of stuff today.
I know, a lot.
What was
a
the
lot, man?
Out of
What-
everything that we talked about, what is the biggest storyline that we haven't gotten to yet? The single biggest one. You got to give me something good.
I'm going to go with the buzzsaw. Buzz Williams winning a big one today at Missouri. Well, I mean, listen.
No,
Do you want to hear another 19-page diatribe if he doesn't get in the tournament? We need him in so we don't have to listen to that anymore.
my issue is you called him the buzzsaw.
He is. He's carving up the SEC. He's carving him up. The name is appropriate.
The people on Sirius cannot see me rolling my eyes right now.
They're like 13-2. Did you have them winning the SEC?
I strained my
They're
optic.
gonna
I
beat-
strained my
What if
optic
they beat-
nerve.
what if they
rolling
beat
my eyes
Alabama?
at the
What-
buzzsaw?
what if-
carving up the SEC?
No, but seriously, this was a good win.
Yes.
I mean, I've been very, very critical of Buzz because he doesn't play anybody in the non-conference. And I think it's bullshit, right? He didn't get in last year because he didn't play anybody in the non-conference. What does he go out and do? Puts together a worse non-conference schedule, and they're not very good in it. But you know what? Done what they've had to do in SEC play. The SEC is not great, but they're beating everybody, right? I think they've swept Auburn. They went at Missouri today against a Missouri team that's had some pretty good wins over the course of the year. I don't know if Missouri's a lock tournament team, but they're certainly I think they're on the right side of the bubble coming in.
Missouri was an 8 seed as of Friday.
Okay, so
I
they're,
don't think
they're in.
losing at home to Texas A&M.
It's not going to kill them, but it'll probably bring them down to a 9.
I honestly wouldn't even put them on the bubble at this point.
Well, their
They're
numbers are
not-
terrible.
They're
Their
not.
net,
Yeah, they're not a lock.
their
but
net,
they're not on the
everything's not
bubble.
good.
They're
That's
not on
all
the
I'm saying.
bubble.
It's like
I got you. I got you. Texas A&M, like that was a big one for them.
huge.
They needed that.
And
one.
Buzz is in year 4 and he hasn't been in the tournament yet.
Yes.
So you could have gone 0 for 4 if you're Buzz. This is a critical year for him. He always has a great contract, this rollover. He's been one of the first coaches that's gotten it. But Texas A&M's paying him a ton of money. And if you go 0 for 4, yeah, you're going in probably next year with some pressure on you, even though you've been close. So this was, to me, the win that probably puts them in.
So my biggest storyline
I'm waiting. It's got to be about Duke.
is it's about Duke.
I mean,
I
you
don't-
pump this for
I
an
don't
hour.
think I don't think enough people are talking about the Blue Devils right now.
Okay.
They have won 5 of their last 7 games. They've won a very nice 6 of their last 9.
You mean 6 of the last 7, don't
They've
you?
won a very nice 6 of their last 9 games. But
You're giving them a loss for the one in Charlottesville?
well, the one they didn't win the game. But if that foul gets properly overturned and Kyle Filipowski hits a free throw,
Yeah.
they win in Charlottesville. And if Kyle Filipowski getting punched in the neck gets called
that's
as a
right.
flagrant foul,
Yeah.
then that,
They win that
probably
one.
end up winning that game. And if we're talking about those 2 calls getting made, this is not something that Duke did on the floor. This was officiating rules that were like at best controversial.
Sure.
Like it was a talking point, both of those calls. If they go the way towards Duke, we're sitting here. Duke has won 8 of their last 9 games. They will be a game out of first place. No, I'm sorry. You know what? They would be tied for first place in the ACC because they would have beaten Virginia. Virginia isn't up
Yeah,
on the first
that's
place. They
right,
would have beaten
that's right.
Virginia. So they'd be tied for first place, having won 8 of their last 9 games. Derek Lively's figured it out defensively. Dariq Whitehead is healthy.
Yeah.
Kyle Filipowski is still playing at the level that he was playing.
He's gotten it back.
Tyrese Proctor has kind of figured it out. Jeremy Roach is healthy. So I think they're kind of flying under the radar here. I know, like,
It's
the
about
metrics-
Whitehead. It's still about Whitehead for me. And he had 14 points in 19 minutes today and shooting it well. To me, it's
making his
always been
threes.
all about Dariq Whitehead for me, whether this team can be a second weekend tournament type team. Because they do. Like, Lively's been a little bit inconsistent, but he's certainly capable. Roach, if he doesn't have to do too much, is perfect for what they need. Obviously, Proctor has been inconsistent. He's young. He's reclassified, whatever. Mark Mitchell made a huge shot the other night. He's been good. Blakes can come off the bench and guard a little bit. You got the veterans and Granderson and Young that now are role guys, which is what they always should have been, but couldn't be early in the season. I think Shire's done a really good job. I think he's done a very underrated coaching job this year. And I hope people give him credit for it when they're like a number 6 seed at the end of the year. I know everybody's like, well, Duke always should be in the top 10, this, that, and the other. I just think with a young
the problem
team,
is people are going to look at the recruiting rankings.
Right,
And they're going
right.
to say, you had the top 2 players in the class.
Sure.
They did not have the top 2 players in the class.
Right.
They had 2 of the top 5 players in the class.
Yeah.
Scoot Henderson is the best player in the class. He's with the G League Ignite. The Thompson twins can make the argument we're better than Lively and Whitehead.
sure.
Those guys are overtime elite.
Right.
3 of the top 5 players. I would make the argument 3 guys that were better than the 2 guys that Duke got were in college. So Duke got the 2 best players that went to college.
In a class, it's not great.
In a class that's not great.
Right.
So not all top 5 recruits are made the same. Not all 5 stars are made the same. Always remember that. I
It's
think,
almost like not all hosts are made the same.
yeah, some of them are like you and some of them are elite. Like me. I'm the Zion of hosts.
Oh, so you're going to go down with an injury in the middle of the show?
I mean, I'm cramping up right now as we speak, man. I'm hurting over here. All right. Anything else you got? We got 2 minutes before we got to get out. Can we touch on Michigan State real quick?
Sure, we should.
So Michigan State, they lost at Michigan, but to me, that's not the story.
Right.
Of course. The story is Tom Izzo, his presence in that community, his presence on that campus. I had one parent of a student that's at Michigan State text me, basically say that Tom Izzo is, how can you not love him?
Yeah.
He's the best individual in college sports right now.
Because he just wears all his emotions on his sleeve, and he's willing to admit. I saw, when he spoke for the second time, and he said, I've kind of changed over the years. I understand people process things differently, and I'm processing it differently than maybe the media or other people.
It's a difficult situation for Izzo to deal with and Michigan State to deal with. Listen, this has been Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM, Channel 84 for Jeff Goodman. I'm Rob Dauster. We'll see you guys again tomorrow night. Denton, Dagan, sorry about that. I thought I had a little bit more time than I did. Are we ready for the afters, guys?
No worries, you got it on time.
We're ready.
All right.
Thank you, Denton. Appreciate it.
Do it.
Thank you, Denton. Chat, shout out Denton.
All right. Well, we're going to start this off. This is something we wanted to talk about, but we obviously didn't get to it during the show. Who are your biggest snubs from today's top 16 reveal? I have a funny feeling I know who Dawson's going to answer here, but
I mean,
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. This is crazy. I'm going to say this. I think they're the biggest. They're my biggest.
Yeah, I mean, UConn, St. Mary's, and Creighton, right, were the 3 that were kind of in the mix, didn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I whatever. It's like the seed reveal. I don't.
He forgets that I can't hear any of this. So.
Tell him, ask him the
It's
question.
the biggest snub from the top 16 seed reveal.
Who cares?
Yeah, that's my take on it too.
I don't care this. It's going to change. I mean, it's all similar to what most people have out there. I don't, again, the big thing is you got to understand that each of these 10 men and women in the room are using different ways of evaluating and determining. And I'm not putting much stock into it. I'm not.
I think it is far more interesting to kind of look at like the trends that we're seeing in there. And so here's the trend that I'm seeing. Tennessee is top 4 in every metric when this was released, right? Top 4 in everything.
Yeah.
They're a 3 seed.
Yeah, they should be lower than that.
St. Mary's is top 10 in every
Right. They're
metric.
nowhere to be seen.
They're not in
Nowhere
this
to be
list.
found, right.
UConn, top 10 in every metric. They're not there on that list, despite having a win over Alabama.
Because these guys,
having a
they
win over
know,
Iowa State.
they know.
So here's what I'm going to say. I think that is very bad news for a program like West Virginia, who's kind of built on having really good metrics.
Yeah, really.
For someone like a Boise State, who's built on having really good metrics. For someone like a Texas A&M, who's got a couple bad losses.
Yeah.
Obviously, they got the win at Missouri today, so that's like that matters. But they're kind of built on having really good metrics. So to me, when you're looking at this, that's what you should take more than like where teams are specifically.
I mean, can West Virginia
slotted.
get to 7? I mean, look at their Oklahoma State at home, at Kansas, at Iowa State, 2 places where people just don't win. And then Kansas State at home.
No, I do not think that they can get to 7 wins.
I don't either.
I don't think
I think they're dead in the water.
That they needed this Texas Tech.
Right.
They had to have it. You
I mean,
could
how do
not
you
lose
lose this?
They were up too. Like that's not a good loss. You can't take that loss.
Does Huggins retire after this year?
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not too. I hope he.
I want him to go out on top.
Yeah, well, at least with a tournament. I'm not sure on top is
Well,
ever
he's
going
not
to
going to
happen.
go out on top, but all right. What else we got, Dagan?
Well, I got a little. I'm gonna a little shameless plug here. We can find out all of the information if West Virginia is going to be in. What's the deal with the top 16 seeds? Fielding 68 every Monday, Friday, 5 p.m. I know most of the chat knows it by now, but in case you haven't heard, Monday, Friday, 5 p.m. Next one, of course, we didn't touch on the Big East, so we got to do it a little bit here. But we're going to look ahead because there wasn't a ton that happened, obviously, today in the Big East. We're definitely not going to talk about that game that happened in Stores. So Wednesday, Providence or UConn? Who you got?
We're going to be there.
That's true. Well,
we plugged that. We're going to be at Providence, UConn on Wednesday. We are heading up to West Lafayette tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. I'm riding with Trevor. By the way, one thing we found about producer Trevor, Jeff.
Well, I didn't ride with him.
He is an angry driver.
What do you mean angry?
Like
what is
cussing
that?
people out,
people?
like laying on the horn.
Really?
Yeah, like we're sitting there driving.
What does he drive to be able to do that? You better drive something that's like
it's like a nice SUV.
Tough?
Yeah, it's got
not tough.
It's like a nice SUV.
That's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't. I mean,
Trevor is kind of like a soccer mom with a lot of pent up anger when he's driving.
Well, he has to listen.
This is awful, man.
The poor guy has to deal with you. Of course, he's got pent up anger.
It was like we were in the car together for like 2.5 minutes.
It doesn't matter. Driving with you for 2.5 minutes.
I will say this.
Trust me.
I will say this. The one good thing about Trevor driving is he's not sitting there like this while he's driving.
Hey, I don't drive and text.
yeah.
Don't make
you drive and
up.
tweet.
Don't make things up. I pull over every time I tweet.
Oh man.
Question again? Oh yeah, Big East. Big East. What do you make of the Big East?
That was not the question. That was not the question.
Oh, I got something for you guys. Sorry, Dagan, look.
Just take it. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Take it. Go ahead. I'm not saying anything.
Dagan. Poor Dagan. Dagan has just been.
It's wild. I got this from Fanta. All right.
Okay.
So if it's wrong,
blame it.
Blame John Fanta. But if everything holds, right, and Creighton beats Marquette in Omaha, Creighton and Marquette both win out. Other than that, they are going to both be 16-4. They are going to have the tiebreakers over any potential 16-4 Providence or 16-4 Xavier team. They split.
Yep.
They have the same record against everybody else in the league. You have to go all the way down the tiebreaker list, and they are tied in everything. You know what's going to be? You know what's going to be the tiebreaker for them? Who has the higher nets? That could end up being legitimately. The net could end up being determining who is the 1 seed.
I feel like there's a better way. What would you do? Like let's think of a better tiebreaker. How about a race between the head coaches? A foot race.
I think it's time we mute him.
1-on-1.
Yes.
1-on-1.
Why not?
Shaka against Greg McDermott.
Shaka. I mean, come on. Or you do like some UFC style deal. But when you pay big money, you're going to watch Shaka and McDermott race.
No, here's what it's going to be. It's going to be a best of 5, right?
Yeah.
But you have to do different drinking games. So it's going to be one of them. One of them's going to be beer pong.
He's going to beat
McDermott.
McDermott.
You don't have to drink.
Don't you think McDermott's played a few more drinking games than Shaka has?
It's not. You're not actually drinking. So it's like one of the games is beer pong. Then you play flip cup. Then you play can jam. Then you got to play cornhole. What do you guys call it here? Bags. Yeah, you call it bags.
Wait. Hold up. They call it bags there?
I like the idea. I think we should propose this to the Big East.
Dagan's saying something again. We're just going to keep
No.
going.
This is an important conversation.
I can't hear
We're
him.
just going to go.
So he can't yell at me.
All right, Dagan, what else do we have?
I'm still caught up on the cornhole versus bags thing. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's bad. Apparently, it's bags.
Not bags. It's cornhole.
It's cornhole.
Oh, this was a question
I know.
that I forgot to get to. So obviously the chat's been obsessed with Dauster's eyebrows for the last few days. They've moved on to something else. They want to know how tall Jeff Goodman is after his interview with TJD.
Jeff's tall. I'm 6'3", and Jeff probably has 1.5 inches on me.
No, I do not.
Yeah.
No.
Jeff's like a
Jeff,
solid.
just
bullshit.
Jeff
We're the
Here's
same
the thing.
height. We're the same height.
Jeff is 6'4" and change.
I am not.
If you put him in shoes, he's 6'5", and so you would list him at 6'6".
Is he saying that?
And here's the crazy part. Here's the craziest part. Jeff Goodman could never even slap the backboard. That's how athletic he is.
That's bullshit. I could dunk back when I was probably about 18 years old. I'm
gonna need to see video of this to believe it.
I'm not 6'6". I'm like 6'2.5".
There's no way you are 6'2.5".
You're not 6'2.5".
I am 6'2.5".
All right, Rob. Right now, hold on.
Right,
Right now,
whatever.
we're doing this live on the air. Get Trevor behind the camera and have
Trevor.
him zoom it out. And will you two stand up and go back to back right now?
Go behind the camera. We need to figure out who's taller. They're making us do this.
Right here.
Chad wants to know who's taller.
Zoom out. Tell Trevor to zoom out. He can't hear me.
See, it's not even close. Yeah, see?
Yeah, you are definitely taller than him, Goodman. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Zoom out.
You
Tell Trevor
you
to
guys
zoom out.
saw Goodman next to Trayce Jackson-Davis. Trayce Jackson-Davis is 6'9". And he's got the poofy hair.
He does have the poofy
Yeah.
hair.
Next, now Ben wants us to measure
surprisingly,
eyebrows.
you know, the worst
We're not measuring eyebrows, Ben. Chill out.
the worst interview I ever did. I had to interview David Padgett at halftime of a Louisville game. Louisville played, I forget who it was, but I felt so short. David Padgett's like, I mean, he's 6'11", almost 7 feet. Like Trayce, I didn't feel that short, but Padgett, I felt like tiny.
There were some other things that we didn't get to.
We didn't get to
There was a lot you didn't get to.
couple things.
Auburn, you want to talk about Auburn? We talked about that earlier.
Auburn being a fraud.
Auburn being a fraud, losing to Vandy. Stack taking that Bruce Pearl tonight. I honestly think, maybe I'm crazy, but when you look at Auburn's resume, I look at it and I'm like, I don't know, first four, like maybe 11, first four-ish.
What were they in the last fielding? They were an 8 in the last
They're
fielding.
not, though. That's wrong. Like, that should not be right based on their resume, based on who they've beaten. Look at that. It's awful.
I hear you.
It's not good.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But the problem is those guys look at the numbers.
I know, but
Yep.
they shouldn't. Like 2 and
You know what?
6 in
They are-
quad one.
You might be right then, because you're this is the perfect example of a team that's way up
You
in
were
the
telling me.
Yeah,
That's what you were saying earlier, and
It's a
I'm like,
perfect example of them.
you're 2 and 6, and like your best win might be Northwestern on a neutral.
I mean,
I know it's not horrible. It's not horrible now.
Yeah, that doesn't sound that bad right now.
Oh, their best win is the
think
Big
about it.
Ten champion
But-
on a neutral court. How can you trust them?
Just think about it, though. It's like that's your best win.
It's not. I mean, it's not
I
great.
don't know.
It's
I
not
mean,
great.
you can't lose to Vandy tonight. You can't lose to Vandy.
Yep.
Bad loss.
Yeah, that's
Bad
not great.
loss.
That's
It's
not
not Clemson level loss, but it's bad.
the quad 5.
Quad 5 loss.
That's an all.
We had to tweet that.
That's an all-time line.
Uh,
Dagan, we got any other questions?
Apparently, you had a hot take or something, Rob. I don't know if you got that out already. I don't know what that was
Oh,
about.
the Duke thing.
That's what I figured it was. But
no
I
one
didn't
is
know.
no one is talking about Duke enough. Like Duke, I think that they have legit like second weekend potential.
Right.
Like
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if they like make a run to the Elite Eight. I'm not going to predict it. It's going to be matchup based.
I like
They're
him.
not quite
I like
that
him
good.
too. Again, you got a bunch of good players. There's not a superstar, but how many superstars are there in college basketball, especially non-bigs?
There aren't.
All the best guys, for the most part,
Mhm.
Jalen Wilson is the one guy you
Brandon
would
Miller.
say. Brandon Miller and Jalen Wilson are the two guys that, like, okay, give him the ball that can make a play that are superstar caliber, right?
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, yeah, I like to. I don't love him, but I like him.
Yeah, I think at this point, I don't know if there's a team in the ACC outside of Miami.
I like Virginia still.
They just,
I still like him. I trust Tony Bennett.
I
That's
trust
what I
him.
would say.
I trust him too, but
He's got a fifth
they're
year
so-
point guard.
They feel so limited to me, right? Like they're just
Yeah.
kind of who they
Yeah,
are.
I mean, they barely beat Notre Dame at home today, right?
Yeah, and they,
At home.
yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
They're fine, but that's kind of what they are.
It's funny though. You go through it now, and you're like, all right, the Pac-12 sucks, right? Other than two teams, the ACC sucks, right? The SEC is not very good. So what leagues? Big East, pretty good.
I would say the top
three
four,
leagues.
the top 4/5 in the Big East
Yeah,
are all teams that I could see.
yeah, making a second weekend, maybe even a lead eight.
I think all four of those teams are capable of making a Final Four, or
Right,
all
right.
five of them. I'm going to throw
Yeah.
UConn in the mix. I know I'm going to get fucking killed in the chat for that, but I think UConn is legitimately good enough to make a Final Four.
I've never seen anybody ride a roller coaster like you do with UConn.
No, I do.
You're unbearable with them.
They're good enough.
You're
to do it.
unbearable.
But here's the
you
thing.
hated them a month ago.
Yes.
You honestly,
Yes, I do.
you
And
would have
know
taken
what?
DePaul over them.
That's not true. Take that back.
No,
That's
I'm
offensive.
telling you.
It's offensive.
You said to me,
Actually,
Tony
no,
Stubblefield over Danny Hurley.
Georgetown is the
That's
new
what you
DePaul.
said.
Georgetown, it's not offensive anymore. Georgetown is the new DePaul. No, but I mean, like they're good enough to make a Final Four. They are also the one team out of that group that is probably bad enough. Like if they lost in the first round as a 3
Would
seed,
not surprise
I'd be like, yeah, you know what? That was kind of something that was coming. I would say the top 6 in the Big 12
Yep.
are all good enough to be able to make a Final Four. Is that crazy?
Top 6. I don't think Iowa State is good enough anymore. I've kind of written them off.
Okay,
Okay.
top 5.
I'm done. I'm done with Iowa State. I'm done.
Call it top
I
5.
love TJ. I think he's done an incredible
You know
job.
what? We didn't get to Iowa State, Kansas State. So let's talk about that a little bit.
I just, again, they played over their heads. I mean, the fact that they're still on the 11th in the reveal today is amazing for TJ, what he's done. But I don't have any confidence that they can do anything.
Why? Is it just they're limited offensively?
They're like,
they don't have
they're like a
stars?
poor man's Tennessee. Now I actually like I like bigger guards. So like Ziegler, Gottlieb kills me for this all the time. He's like, well, why? What do you have against small guards? I'm just like, well, like, I don't know.
Because he was a small
Right,
guard. So we said, no, why don't you like me?
Right,
I think he's
pretty
taking it
much.
personally.
I don't know. I just don't have a lot of confidence after seeing that Iowa State team up close.
You know what you got to say?
Go ahead.
If Gottlieb was like, what do you have against small guards? You.
I'm gonna say it next time. I will.
No, I'm kind of with you on Iowa State. I just buy the idea that their defense is good enough.
They can win a game, maybe two. Maybe.
That's my thing.
They did it last year.
I think they could very easily.
Yeah.
Easily might be the wrong word, but given that the way that the draw is going to break out,
yeah,
they're going to probably end up with a 13 or 14 seed, right? They're probably going to end up with like someone in the 6 to 11 range in the second round. And if you look at those teams in those ranges, and you tell me you're going to play this kind of new style of defense that people in the Big 12 know, but people outside of the Big 12 are not all that familiar with, the no middle overplay, don't let you run your offense stuff. I could see them finding a way to win 2 games just based off of matchups. I don't know if they can get to a Final Four, but I think all the other teams in the league are capable of getting to an Elite Eight or Final Four.
Yep. No,
The
listen.
only one that I have doubts on,
Go ahead.
Kansas State. I hate to say it.
I'm kind of with you. I mean, again, another one that, but some of those, I'll say, like, they've kind of find their swagger back a little bit, getting into the, once they get in the tournament. They do have 2 dudes.
Mhm.
They have 2 guys that can carry a team. Iowa State doesn't.
And they guard.
Right. That's the difference.
They got the kid from Virginia
They
Tech.
got 2 All-American-ish type players in Noel and Keontae. That's all.
If they end up right now, they were a 4 seed, right?
Yeah.
If they end up in the top 3 or 4 seeds,
Yep.
they are going to have the 2 best players on the floor, almost guaranteed in the first round,
right?
And probably in the second round.
Yep. I that's the difference. Iowa State just you're drafting players, like you're not taking Iowa State's players, anybody, 1 or 2 compared to any of these teams we're talking about. That's all.
Says a lot about TJ Alshager.
Yeah. By the way, a name that maybe I'm crazy, maybe down the list a little bit. Texas.
We talked about this last night.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were, I don't know if you remember having that conversation.
No, I remember. We did not have it on the show.
Yeah, we didn't.
We
have
had
on
it
the show.
drinking.
Yeah.
I don't know, just a name to throw out there. I'm not saying I'd have him,
My only issue.
Tang would be the guy. For me, if I'm Del Conte, I'm going friggin' hard after Jerome Tang if I'm not hiring Rodney
I
Terry.
love Tang.
Yep.
Love Underwood. First guy I'm going after is Bruce Pearl.
Yeah, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think so either.
So yeah, you can
But
swing
it-
for
this-
fences.
I'm
I'm talking about realistic guys.
Bruce Pearl. If
Yeah.
I'm Del Conte, going after Bruce Pearl is the same thing as saying if I'm the AD at Georgetown, I'm going after Ed Cooley. Like there's the guy.
Okay.
It's probably not going to work out.
Yeah, yeah.
But
you might as
I
well
think that it
swing.
would be
Swing.
such a
Sure.
you call.
Yep.
You,
I'm with
you
it.
try it.
I'm with it.
So one thing I would say is this. I don't know if I would hire Otts over giving Rodney Terry a chance. The other
Okay.
three guys that we talked about, I would, if you can get them,
Yeah.
I think you got to get them over Rodney.
Imagine TJ's done at Iowa State. Although again, listen, he didn't do it at UNLV, but UNLV was a bad fit. The question is the fit at Texas.
Mhm.
Does it fit him? I don't know. I just think, man, if you gave him better players rather than having to deal with guys, at Iowa State who he's getting second tier, third tier transfers, and I don't know. I'd like to see what he could do.
The chat is still talking about the conference ratings. So we sorry about that. We got sidetracked. Okay.
Yeah.
Big 12, Big East. We both agreed that the top 4, 5, 16,
And then
whatever,
Big 10.
whatever
And then
it
Big
is
10.
elite, right?
Yeah.
Where would you rank UCLA and Arizona in comparison with like the other top 2s, other top 3s? Because they're right there. I think that both those teams
They're
are probably
right
top
there.
6.
Yeah, they're right there. The top two, if you're going top twos, you're saying Kansas and Baylor.
Mhm.
I mean, UCLA and Arizona, not that far off. Probably take Kansas and Baylor, but maybe not. I mean, it's close. I picked UCLA to win the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is that
SEC,
you're-
Alabama, and who?
there's no
Number two.
number 2.
Right. There's no number 2 there.
Texas A&M.
And then in the Big East,
Dagan said Texas A&M.
might be right now. In the Big East, who are your 2? Who are you picking in your top 2?
I don't think that there is an elite team. If I had to pick a top 2,
Yeah.
it would probably be Creighton
Yep.
and Marquette for me.
Yeah, me. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
And I think Creighton is in the same conversation as Arizona. I think UCLA is in the same conversation as Kansas. I think Baylor is kind of in like a little no man's land.
Yeah.
I just
What about this one? All right, we got through all those. What about if I add Purdue and Indiana in there?
I would have them. Honestly, I might have them below
All of them
else.
below everybody, even the SEC with Alabama and whoever, Texas A&M.
No, I'd have them both that. You're right.
They're better. The
Yeah.
2 of them are better. I think they might be better. Those 2, Purdue and Indiana, they might be better than Creighton and Marquette.
Yeah, they might.
I would have Kansas, Baylor, Arizona,
I'm-
UCLA.
I'm just incredibly high on Creighton. Like I'm
I love Creighton.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I love
probably
Creighton.
if I
Higher
had to like
post.
rank
Yeah.
the top 5 teams in this moment,
Yep.
I think I'd have Creighton 5.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't.
No, I love
that
them.
might
Love
be
'em.
fucking crazy.
Yep.
I think I'd have Creighton 5. All right, what were we just talking about?
You're ranking conferences and
Uh,
stuff. I don't know. You're doing something.
We're almost wrapping.
Yeah,
we are.
I have one more. I have one more thing, and then you guys can do your toast. First
Okay.
of all,
I have to get another beer before we do the toast. What's the one thing?
the one thing. Well, actually, there's 2 things technically. There's a recommendation for tomorrow. Michael wants you guys to take Trevor to the Triple X Family Restaurant tomorrow at West Lafayette. So there you go for you guys.
Trevor requested that we go to Danzer's. He said they have a great buffet.
Oh God. Oh boy. And my last question, a team we didn't get to, we talked about him as a question, but I mean we need to bring it up. T.O. is not gonna be able to see this because he's hacked on Twitter. But Clemson losing to Louisville.
Made it through.
Hold on.
We're not done yet there, Goodman. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on
Goodman,
Clemson losing to Louisville?
What?
Yeah,
are you yelling at me
Clemson losing to Louisville.
We have to talk
That's the
about it.
question people have.
What about it?
Like how bad of a loss is that?
We've said it. It's a quad, like 5, 6, whatever you want to call it. It's atrocious. One of the worst losses of the season for a team that needed it. That's the thing. They're right on the bubble. This probably puts them on the wrong side of the bubble. They were right there. What did we have? 11.
They were one of the first. No, they were one of the first 4 out.
Right. So I mean, you're in major trouble now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anything else, Dagan?
Nope,
Any other questions?
No, we're good. Do your toasts.
Go ahead. Do your toast. Take it away. Hold on. I'll be right back. I have to refill my beer.
All right, my toast tonight, I believe it's going to go to Red Raider Nation. How about that? I'm going to toast to you guys. Red Raider Nation, huge win tonight. You are relevant again. You're 4-10 in league play. And now, like, who knows? Maybe you can get back in the equation. Maybe you're an NIT. I don't know what you are, but at least you're playing meaningful games right now where at one point you were just wishing for the season to end so you could fire Mark Adams. Now, who knows? Again, you win 3 of the last 4. You go deep in the tournament, Big 12 tournament. You'll end up beating some big boys there if you get that far. But yeah, big win against the Huggy Bear in Morgantown.
Trevor's giving his toast of the night.
Who are you toasting to?
My toast of the night is keeping myself in check on press row when Coleman Hawkins posterized Trayce Jackson-Davis. Because it took me a second to not react to that.
All right.
And then, Meyer getting 24 was pretty brutal.
I can confirm that Trevor did an amazing job. Like he did one of these. He was kind of sitting there and it was like you could see his body shake. And he was just sitting there like this and kind of looking around like, what do I do? What do I do? Meanwhile, I'm over there like, oh shit, Trevor, oh shit.
He was watching the UConn game. He was not.
No, I saw that one, man.
Right,
I saw that one. My toast of the night is going to a program that we have shit on constantly on the show. We've dragged them. We've said they don't belong in the NCAA tournament. We said that they're, not good enough. Like they're a disappointment. We tried to fire their head coach like 7 different times.
Yeah.
So my toast tonight was going to the Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah. They deserve it.
They knocked off Tennessee.
Yeah, big win.
Second top 10 win of the season. Second quad 1 win of the week.
Yep.
They are, they're dancing.
Yeah, I think
I don't see them fucking it up.
Yep.
And I do think that they are.
What if they went to the Final Four?
I don't think they have the guard play to do it, but that would be like the perfect kind of encapsulation of the storyline of this season.
Wow, that'd be crazy.
It'd be good for us.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Hey, look, we need people down there, man.
It'd be fun to watch.
We need people down there. Listen, tomorrow we're going to be live 6:00 Eastern time.
Right, 6.
Right? 6, Trevor?
6.
Probably
It's 6.
in front of the Robbie Hummel statue. That would be my guess. We're gonna find it.
Hold on. Can we talk about that real quick?
Real quick.
We haven't talked about this.
Yes.
Hummel blew us off for dinner last night.
He did. But he gave me Twizzlers today.
I didn't get any Twizzlers.
You were way up top. I mean, that was the problem.
I didn't get any Twizzlers.
You never came near the court tonight.
I was on the court after the game. I stormed the floor.
You stormed the floor. You did. That was so you were the only one.
Listen, tomorrow night from Mackey Arena, we're going to be live 6:00 Eastern time. We're going to the Purdue Ohio State game. Wednesday night, we're going to be live from the floor, Gamble Pavilion after UConn Providence. This is such a risk. I can't believe I'm doing this to myself because if they lose that game,
are you scared because you're going with me or?
No, I don't. If they lose that game, I'm going to have to go on after dark and just it's going to be the worst. It's going to be awful. I'm going to hate my life.
That'll be bad.
If they win, I may be shotgunning beers. Me and Luke Murray shotgunning beers in the locker room. What do you think? I gotta ask. I'll ask their AD. I'll ask David Benedict if I'm allowed to do that. Hey David, can I shotgun beers on the Gamble Pavilion floor? No? Okay. Probably not. Listen, Field of 68 after dark. We'll see you guys again tomorrow night. For Trevor Valise over here, for Dagan Hughes on the other side of the camera, for Jeff Goodman. My name is Rob Dauster. See you tomorrow.